The Karathi sensor operator had been monitoring deep space frequencies for 12 standard cycles when the anomaly first appeared. A metallic signature, drifting through the void between star systems like a piece of cosmic debris. Yet something about its trajectory bothered him. Debris didn't move with such mathematical precision. Commander Vexhai stood on the bridge of the Karathi Imperial Dreadnought, her 6 arms folded behind her chitinous back as she gazed at the holographic display. The unknown vessel appeared small, perhaps a third the size of her own ship. Its design was crude by galactic standards. Angular plates of metal welded together with no regard for aesthetic beauty or energy efficiency. No visible weapons arrays. No shield harmonics. Just dead metal floating through space. Probably another derelict from the Thornax Rebellion, her tactical officer suggested, mandibles clicking dismissively. Should we dispatch a salvage team? Vexhai studied the readings more carefully. The ship's configuration matched no known design in the Galactic database. Its power signature was virtually non-existent, yet deep scans revealed intact internal structures. Whatever this vessel was, it had been built to last. Send a hailing frequency, she ordered. All standard channels. The communication officer's tentacles danced across the console. Minutes passed in silence. The mysterious ship continued its steady approach toward the hegemony border, maintaining its languid pace as if it had all the time in the universe. On the other side of the galaxy, Emperor Caldrus of the Zirian Supremacy received similar reports. His crystalline form pulsed with irritation as his admirals described the unknown vessel that had appeared near their territory. The Zirians had ruled their sector for 10,000 years, and they did not appreciate uninvited guests. It refuses all communication attempts, Admiral Zorth reported, his form flickering with barely contained energy. Our psychic probes cannot penetrate its hull. The metal appears to be some kind of composite we've never encountered. Destroy it, Caldrus commanded, his voice resonating through the throne room like breaking glass. We cannot allow unknown elements to threaten our borders. But the Zirians were not the only empire to notice the strange vessel. Within hours, sensor networks across the galaxy had detected its presence. The Malvan Confederacy, with their biological ships grown from living tissue, found the dead metal construct fascinating and repulsive in equal measure. The Etherian Collective, beings of pure energy, detected no life signs aboard, yet sensed something waiting within. The ship itself seemed oblivious to the attention it was attracting. It maintained its course, neither accelerating nor deviating, as if following a path laid out centuries ago. Its hull bore no markings, no identification codes, no hint of its origin. Only careful analysis of its trajectory suggested it had emerged from a region of space long considered empty, a cosmic desert where no intelligent life had ever been detected. Captain Threx of the Karathi Empire was the first to attempt a boarding action. His assault shuttle approached the mysterious vessel with weapons charged and boarding tubes ready. His squad consisted of the Empire's finest warriors, each one capable of conquering a small moon single-handedly. No response to proximity warnings, his pilot reported. No defensive measures activated. It's like they're inviting us in. Threx's antennae twitched with unease. In his 300 years of military service, he had never encountered a ship that didn't defend itself. Even merchant vessels had basic defensive protocols. This complete lack of response felt wrong, like walking into a trap that didn't bother to hide itself. The boarding tube connected with a hollow thud. Cutting lasers sliced through the hull with surprising difficulty. Whatever this metal was, it was incredibly resilient. When the breach was finally made, Threx led his team into the dark interior. The corridors were sized for beings roughly 2/3 the height of a Karathi warrior. Everything was utilitarian, built for function over form. No decorations, no cultural markers, just bare metal and simple geometric designs. The air was stale but breathable, maintained by life support systems that hummed quietly in the walls. Spread out, Threx ordered. Find a bridge. His team moved through the ship like shadows, weapons ready for any threat. But they found only emptiness. Crew quarters stood abandoned, their Spartan furnishings covered in a thin layer of dust. The mess hall contained long tables and simple benches, as if waiting for occupants who would never return. It was Specialist Drax who made the first significant discovery. In what appeared to be a medical bay, he found preserved samples in cryogenic storage. The genetic material was unlike anything in the Galactic database, a double helix structure of remarkable simplicity yet infinite complexity. "Sir," he called out, his voice crackling over the comm, "you need to see this." Threx arrived to find Drax studying a medical display that had activated at their approach. The screen showed anatomical diagrams of a bipedal species, 2 arms, 2 legs, a single head with forward-facing sensory organs. By galactic standards, it was almost laughably primitive. "No redundam órgãos, no natural armor, no inherem psíquica habilities." What kind of species builds warships with such fragile bodies? Drax wondered aloud. Who said this was a warship? Threx countered, though something in his gut told him otherwise. They found the bridge after an hour of searching. It was smaller than expected, with stations for perhaps 6 crew members. The captain's chair sat empty in the center, facing a view screen that flickered to life as they entered. What they saw made every member of the boarding party freeze in shock. The screen displayed star charts, not just any star charts, but detailed maps of every major empire in the galaxy. Trade routes, military installations, population centers, all marked with meticulous precision. How long had this vessel been watching? How much did these unknown beings know? But it was the central console that held the most disturbing discovery. When Threx approached, holographic displays materialized around him. Technical schematics filled the air, weapons systems unlike anything he had ever seen. Energy manipulation on a scale that defied the laws of physics as the galaxy understood them. Defensive capabilities that would make a dreadnought look like a child's toy. And all of it was encrypted in a language the universal translators couldn't decode. "Sir," his communication officer's voice was tight with fear. "I'm detecting a power surge in the lower decks." The lights throughout the ship began to brighten. Consoles that had been dark for unknown years hummed to life. And on every screen, in every empire's language simultaneously, a single message appeared: humanity remembers. The boarding party evacuated immediately, Threx pushing his warriors to move faster than they had ever moved before. As their shuttle pulled away, they watched the mysterious vessel transform. Armor plates shifted and reconfigured. Weapon ports that had been hidden beneath false hull sections emerged like awakening predators. The ship that had seemed small and harmless revealed itself to be something far more dangerous, a wolf that had been pretending to sleep. Across the galaxy, throne rooms erupted in chaos. The Xerian Emperor's crystalline form cracked with rage as his analysts reported that the vessel's power signature now exceeded their most advanced warships. The Etherian collective recoiled as they detected not one consciousness aboard the ship, but thousands, preserved somehow in digital form, waiting for the right moment to awaken. The Malvan Confederacy's living ships sensed a wrongness in the vessel, a deliberate rejection of natural order in favor of cold, calculating purpose. Their prophets spoke of ancient warnings, of a species that had been deemed too dangerous to contact, too unpredictable to include in galactic civilization. But it was the discovery in the ship's database that sent the deepest chill through the Imperial courts. Buried in the historical files, past layers of encryption that took their best codebreakers hours to crack, they found records of first contact. Not recent, but from centuries ago. Humanity had sent peaceful envoys to the stars, small ships carrying messages of friendship and hope. Everyone had been destroyed, some by the Karathi, who saw them as potential threats, others by the Xerions, who considered any uninvited guests to be invaders. The Malvan had dissected human ambassadors to understand their biology. The Etherians had tried to forcibly ascend human minds, killing them in the process. Every major empire had blood on their hands, and now it seemed humanity had decided to collect. The vessel, now identified as the UES Retribution, began broadcasting on all frequencies. The message was simple, delivered in a flat, mechanical voice that somehow carried more menace than any threatening roar. Analysis complete. Galactic threat assessment finalized. Humanity's isolation was not by choice. You made us what we are. You taught us that the galaxy respects only strength. We have learned your lesson well. Emperor Caldrus was the first to order an attack. His fleet, 500 of the most advanced warships in Xerian space, converged on a human vessel. Energy beams capable of cracking moons lanced through space. Antimatter torpedoes streaked toward their target. Gravitational weapons twisted the very fabric of reality around the ship. The Retribution didn't dodge. It didn't need to. The first barrage struck what appeared to be empty space a kilometer from the hull. Energy dispersed across an invisible barrier, creating a spectacular light show that did absolutely no damage. The antimatter torpedoes detonated harmlessly, their destructive potential absorbed and dissipated. The gravitational attacks simply ceased to exist at a certain distance from the ship, as if the laws of physics had been politely but firmly told to stop. Then, the Retribution responded. From ports along its hull, objects no larger than escape pods launched toward the Xerian fleet. The Imperial commanders laughed. Such small projectiles couldn't possibly threaten ships kilometers in length. Their laughter died as the objects ignored shields, passed through armor as if it didn't exist, and detonated inside the vessels. But these were no ordinary explosives. Each device created a localized field that aged everything within its radius by millions of years and seconds. Proud warships became ancient relics, their metal corroding, their systems failing, their crews crumbling to dust before they could scream. In less than a minute, half the Xerian fleet was gone. Not destroyed, but aged into oblivion. The surviving ships retreated in panic, their formation shattered, their confidence broken. But the demonstration wasn't over. The Retribution turned its attention to a nearby uninhabited moon, a lifeless rock that the Xerions had been using as a military outpost. A single beam lanced out from the human ship, not the garish colors of traditional energy weapons, but something that seemed to drink in light rather than emit it. The moon began to compress. Not explode, not shatter, but compress. Its matter condensed tighter and tighter until the gravitational forces exceeded the Chandrasekhar limit. In full view of every sensor in the system, the human ship had created a small black hole where a moon had been. The message was clear: we can do this to your worlds. Panic spread through the galactic community like wildfire. The Karathi Empire mobilized its entire fleet. The Malvan Confederacy began growing new bioships at an unprecedented rate. The Etherian collective retreated into their energy dimensions, sealing passages behind them. Every minor species that had managed to avoid Imperial attention suddenly found themselves being recruited, threatened, or bribed into military alliances. But the Retribution made no aggressive moves. It simply continued on its original course, now clearly revealed to be heading toward the Galactic core, the seat of the ancient Galactic Council, where the eldest races had long ago decided that humanity was too primitive, too violent, too dangerous to be allowed among civilized species. Trade routes collapsed as merchants refused to travel through sectors the human ship might pass through. Colonies were evacuated based on trajectory predictions that changed daily as analysts tried to guess the ship's intentions. Some empires began turning on each other, blaming their neighbors for provoking this crisis. It was Admiral Voss of the Theranian Republic, one of the few empires that had no record of attacking human vessels, who suggested a different approach. The Theranians had always been diplomats rather than warriors, preferring negotiation to conquest. They had survived among more aggressive neighbors through careful neutrality and strategic alliances. Perhaps, Voss suggested to a gathering of military leaders, we should try talking to them again. The response was immediate and visceral. The Xerian representative